Vanguard! Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to the last episode of What's Gonna Happen to Vanguard, or however I'm gonna name this series. That I've still not decided to what the title is going to be. But basically in the last couple of videos I've been discussing and talking about the main topic that has been discussed in the community about the future prospect of Vanguard, the potential G reboot, the cancellation of the game, and the big one in the room, the set rotation. And this video is basically gonna be the final episode where I'm gonna give you my personal opinion and my take on this subject, which a lot of you guys have been asking me and bugging me about for what I think about what's gonna happen in the future. So again, I wanna start this video off by addressing the biggest misconception in the fact that the G reboot as well as the cancellation of the game isn't going to happen. The G reboot is 100% not going to happen at all. And the cancellation of Vanguard, of the game itself, is at least not going to happen for the next year or so. And probably never, as long as we make this game profitable for Bushiroad, which it currently is. Now, set rotation in itself is also not confirmed. It's not been confirmed by Bushiroad or a staff member or whatsoever. It's all been a speculation. And I also want to address where this speculation comes from, as it originally came from the video that was made by Soul Kage, where he explained that he discovered about a 3-year cycle in Cardfight Vanguard, where every 3 years or so we have a new season, a new big mechanic, a new big thing. This has been happening in the OG era, this has been with the G era, as well with the V series, and with the V series, we are ending these 3-year cycles as 2021 ushers in the new 3-year cycle. And that idea sparked the video, at least I assume that sparked the video topic idea for Solid Vanguard to make it the video where he thinks that set rotation could potentially be a thing that comes to Vanguard. And one of the biggest arguments that he made, or one of the arguments, is not only the 3-year cycles, but also the name of the format, as it's called Standard and Premium. And most other games call their standard format the rotating format. So that's also a very good hint that they might do it as a rotation. And another hint to maybe a set rotation actually being a thing is that Bushiroad did dabble in rotation formats. Not only did we have the V series reboot, where they just rotated everything out and started afresh, but you can say that's just a generic reboot, but certain games that do a reboot still incorporate all the older cards. But another thing is that they tried to do a reboot when they start doing the G era. As when they had the G era in Japan, they made a G era regulation format where they can only play with G era cards, or maybe certain cards from the Legion era, but I'm not sure how big that card pool was. That didn't really catch on in Japan, and they never made it a thing in the West. So that was a failed attempt to a soft reboot. Now the reboot eventually happened at the end of the G era, so these are all things that came together for multiple players to think that a set rotation could be a thing. Now in the previous video I talked about how set rotation works, the pros, the cons, and how I think it should be incorporated within Vanguard, and the main thing was that we need a base set. Without a base set that will be in rotation till the end of times, or at least that if they move out the base set that they replace it with a new base set to the very least. If we do not have a base set, then it would be really hard to sustain a set rotation in a card game like Cardfight Vanguard, where we have 24 clans and where we cannot mix cards of clans. Now with that quick rundown of the previous videos, now we get to the point where you guys have been waiting for, my personal opinion. And I'm gonna be honest, in the prospect of a rotation, I wouldn't be against it actually, as I play Hearthstone, and yes, I'm gonna be fair, when Hearthstone started to do the rotation, I stopped playing the game, but that's basically because at the time that they incorporated the rotation system, I wasn't really feeling Hearthstone at much, and I already had an excuse to get out of it. Now, with Vanguard, in the case if they decide to announce it this month, as we're gonna have a product stream this month, I would still stick around, because honestly, having a rotation by removing out cards and getting new cards, that excites me in the prospect that we might get even more experimentation with card effects, because they know that they have a certain set of cards that will be in rotation, so they can incorporate these cards to work better with each other and don't have to worry about the endless supply of older cards. Yes, it might fuck Premium a little bit, but I think Premium can get along, or can keep itself healthy long enough. I mean, they've been doing great so far in the previous reboot, where certain cards might break Premium, but I mean, as long as Zazan still exists in Premium, no matter what card they bring out in Standard would actually change the format unless they make a Zazan 2.0 or something like that. But please, dear God, not do that. But the rotation itself, I think would be fine. Now, would it actually happen? Honestly, I don't think Bushiroad is actually gonna put in a rotation. Yes, they call it Standard. Yes, they try to do a set rotation or a reboot of the game. But I don't think they actually want to do a set rotation in Vanguard itself, because as I explained, a 24 clan game having a set rotation might be a little bit too much to actually sustain it. And yes, they can incorporate this base set that I've been talking about for the entire previous video as well as in this video, but also that in itself does have a problem, because does that mean that the first set of the new era is gonna be start off with this base set? That might be an issue, because the base set needs to be gigantic to support all the 24 clans. Now, they can potentially split it up and have multiple base sets in parters, but it could be really confusing for players to actually get their hands on this base set or on the cards on this base set, because if they want to play a specific clan and it's not in the first parter, then they need to look in the second parter. But if they want to have specific clans and one is in the base set 1, one is in the base set 2, it might, or one is in the base set 3 or whatever parter, it can be really annoying to get these hands on. And for newer players that come in later, might have a harder time to access this base set. It can be really annoying to actually get their hands on these cards. Something like Hearthstone that has this base set doesn't have this problem, because they are a digital card game. No matter whenever a player comes in, now starts the game, or 5 years later, that base set is always accessible, because you just can get packs digitally from that base set, and because it's a digital pack, they can put all the cards in one single base set, so it's easier for newer players to get their hands on. In a physical card game, something like a base set, it's much harder to actually facilitate. So that's why I'm not really feeling that they're actually gonna try to do something like a cycle system in Vanguard, unless they actually revamp the entire game. But I'm not really so sure they're actually going to do that, because they might lose a lot of players. Now, what I actually think is going to happen besides the set rotation is nothing. I honestly think starting next year, we're just going to continue on like normal. And the reason why I think that nothing actually is going to happen, that we're going to continue with Standard as it is because of order cards. Why did they introduce a new type of order card this year to then for some reason reboot the entire game next year, or to put in a set rotation that might put out a lot of cards? As what was then the point of introducing order cards? There are way too few order cards to actually make them an impact, and we need way more sets and more order cards to actually being able to use them to an actual degree. So if they actually just outright rebooted the game again, then that made no sense. A set rotation to some degree they could basically remove all the cards before order cards. So Tri-Free could be where we start with this new rotation. So order cards are there from the beginning. So this set rotation could be the order card set rotation. And once we end the set rotation, order cards are moved out of the set. That could be a thing, but I don't really see that happening. So my honest prediction is that either this month we're just going to hear about the new sets and nothing really about the set rotation or something about the new year of Vanguard. And then January or February, whenever the beginning of the 2021 product livestream is going to be, they're just going to announce the new anime and a new couple of sets. And maybe the new mechanic, maybe order cards 2.0, or they actually are going to make the defensive order cards, because so far we only have normal order cards. We have no blitz orders. So whenever they are actually going to try to design blitz orders, maybe that's the point they're actually gonna make them. And yes, this might have been not the answer that you're looking for, as you might hope that I was also guessing on a set rotation. But keep in mind, I don't think they're gonna put a set rotation, but I still am all right or all for that they're actually gonna do it, because I will still play the game. It might even be easier for me to make videos, because I don't have to look at as older cards, as the set rotation limits the amount of cards. So certain videos for me are much easier to make. But I don't personally believe that Cardfight Vanguard as a game is suited for a set rotation system. And it all has to do with the fact that we have 24 clans and no cards can be mixed and matched. Bushiroad can maybe make it work. They can decide that starting with the set rotation, we're going to get more cross-clan cards like we see with Blaster Blade and Blessed Dark Spirit that are playable in Gold Paladin and Royal Paladin and Gold Paladin and Shadow Paladin. We might see more of those cards to facilitate all the clans in such a small rotation, or they can make the rotation so large that it actually doesn't really make an impact at all. They can make it like a 4 or 5 year set rotation or a 3 year set rotation where one is going out, and they make it manageable because the set rotations are so big that it doesn't really impact the clans as a whole. And that's basically everything about this subject, as we already addressed all the major points in the previous 2 videos. Links on top if you haven't seen those, because there are still a lot of interesting things that I addressed in those particular videos that I didn't went over this video, as this video is more of a personal opinion based style, as I just give my opinion about the subject, and there isn't really any more to say about it. Although there's one more thing that I can talk about, what I think is going to happen in the near future for Vanguard, is we have all the G-Era cards right now. And we've seen all the sets being released back to back to back with what we're going to get. We've already seen VBT 11 with Lambros and Aquaforce. Now, there are only, I believe, 4 more clans to be revealed with the G-Era counterpart. And a lot of people already explained that those are the clans of the evil villain team that worked on the Kanzaki or whatever that was in the antagonist group, with Genesis, Angel Feathers, and Gold Paladin, as Tayo was evil Tayo. And we only missed Bermuda Triangle. Those 4 clans can easily be their own set. So then we still miss, I believe, 2 sets before the end of the year, and then also January is something that needs to be filled out, and maybe February. So we're still missing quite a few sets, or quite a few months. Now, one thing that I definitely think is going to happen, or at least see is going to happen, we started off this G-Era mini reboot with all these sets with Team Tri-Free. I definitely see it that we're going to end off with Team Tri-Free. And the reason why I think that is because we still have a second Stride evolution of those 3 VR units. We have the second Stride for Altmal and Arsha, and we also have Gear Groovy. I think it's very likely that they decide to end it off with Team Tri-Free, as, let's be honest, the G-Era is symbolized with Team Tri-Free. They were the main group of the G-Era, and if anybody is saying, oh, what is G-Era or what is Stride Era, they are going to look at Team Tri-Free. They're going to look at Chronojet, Allbound, Arsha. They are the poster units of that era of Vanguard. So it's only fitting for them to actually usher in this mini era, as well as waving this era off once we go into the new era, where we're going to strive away from already existing units and we're going to start off anew with brand new units. And that is honestly what I think is going to happen in the short term. In the long term, we're just going to continue on what we've already been doing. In the short term, I believe we're going to end off with the latest strides for Gear Chronicle, Neo Nectar, and Altmal to wave off this mini era of V. And I think that's actually pretty poetic to do it like that, as that really gives a good incentive of this is the good point of ending the show. Because if they went a little bit further, we're going to get in Geese territory. Let's not do that. I mean, a V version of Geese just sounds terrible. I mean, please don't do that. But yeah, that's basically everything for this video. Let me know in the comments down below what your opinion is of what you think is gonna happen to Vanguard starting 2021. Do you think we're gonna get a reboot? Do you think we're gonna get a cycle system or a set rotation? Or do you think we're gonna just continue on per usual, per normal? Because that's definitely possible that nothing is gonna happen. I mean, it doesn't have to be something new. Because don't forget, even if we had this 3-year cycle, in the first 2 cycles, they just continue onward like nothing happened. Just the later cycles, that's when we had things like set rotations or different ways to block out older cards or other shenanigans like that. So there's definitely more to this topic than just meets the eye. So let me know in the comments down below all your thoughts and opinions about this topic, as it is a really interesting thing to speculate and talk about, as there are a lot of possibilities. As long as Bushiroad doesn't confirm anything, we can just speculate. As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or everything that we're doing on this channel, you can simply do that by going down and hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell button to be updated for our future videos. And if you can and want to help us a little bit more directly, you can do that by going over to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one.